Welcome to Level Up with Winnie Sun.
Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday to you. I hope that you're having a good day this very big election day. You keep seeing people talking about this all over social media and probably in your own families and friends and your communities. And yet we are here. And I know many of us are still watching this very, very closely. But before we get into that, let's talk about the financial markets and where we closed. The Dow closed up 558 points. The NASDAQ joined up 202 points. Overall, a very positive day. The stock market started the trading day actually really positive, already over 500 points, and we were able to keep the gain at market close. So for those of you who are investing, those of you looking at your 401k statements, probably feeling a little pretty good today. The stock market is looking for clarity, and investors are hoping that they get it today. Obviously, with the election, we're hoping for a clear winner tonight from this historic presidential election between President Donald Trump and Vice President Joe Biden as voters continue to head to the polls for this last day of voting. So let me ask you, how many of you already voted and how many of you are waiting to the last minute? I'm always really curious. This year, I was actually really good. I actually voted last month. So really ahead of my normal voting routine, and hopefully those of you who voted, you feel good about your decision. And other financial news, let's talk about AT&T. AT&T is considering selling its very significant minority stake in DirecTV, AT&T Now, and its Uverse platforms. This is a big deal because the final deal is expected to take place in December once all the bids come in. Now, the DirecTV deal, just to give you an idea how big this is, the DirecTV deal could be valued at a little less than $15 billion. But this is the sad news. It was something that they bought for $67 billion just in 2015. So talk about a bad financial decision. So in my opinion, what does this mean for you? In my opinion, this will certainly translate into layoffs. So here, for employees that are going to be affected, planning is key here. On other news, Uber sent out an email sharing with riders that they'll be notified if a car that they've ordered will have disinfecting Clorox wipes, hoping to encourage more riders to feel safe again to use this service. We continue to see a decrease in ridership, so hopefully, riders feel safe that this is yet another safety measure as we go through this pandemic. On other news, those of you who are Tesla drivers, here's some good news for you. There was some good news for you today. Tesla is getting new battery cells from Panasonic that are said to tout faster charging capacity. If you remember, Panasonic previously announced that they would be making an extra $100 million investment into the Gigafactory here in close by in Nevada. Its partnership with Tesla to produce battery cells exclusively for the electric automaker would increase energy density of cells by 5% and the total output by 10%. And as a Tesla driver, let me tell you, I'm excited about that because anytime I can get more range on my car, I'm a happy camper. So here's the reality. I want to talk about this. Someone you know will be disappointed with the election results tomorrow. I mean, hopefully it's not you, or maybe it's somebody that, that voted in the opposite direction of you. But irregardless, this is what we want to know and expect with the financial markets tomorrow. Let me tell you, you can expect market volatility tomorrow. I'm telling you right now that market volatility, as we know, could mean a drop in the market, could be also a dramatic increase in the market. Regardless, there will be market volatility. I'm guessing it'll probably be negative volatility, but you just don't know for sure. But here's what I want to share with you today. Let's talk about the 3 questions I think every investor, everybody who's watching the financial markets, anybody who's employed or used to be employed because before this pandemic wants to be paying attention to their money. We want to answer these 3 questions. Historically, what happens to the stock market after an election year, right? Number 2 would be, what changes should I be making, if any, when handling my money? And thirdly, what changes should I be making if not only to my money, but afterwards, what are some things I should be planning as we go into the end of the year? So 3 really big things. So let's talk about historically what happens. this is something that you can expect. Obviously, it's not for sure. This is just based on history. This is what it tells us. History tells us, and we'll know more hopefully by this evening, that if a president incumbent is reelected, so in this case, President Donald Trump is reelected, LPL shared a report that said stocks on average will produce a 10% rate of return after the 1 year of the election, 70+% of the time. So over 70% of the time, historically, if the president is reelected, the market will produce an average return of 10% 1 year post-election. Okay. That being said, if there's a change of political party, if in this case, if Vice President Joe Biden were to be elected, historically, then 50% of the time, the market would produce a return of 5% at a 1 year point after the election. Now, of course, this doesn't say that this is exactly what's going to happen. This is simply giving us a historical look back on the financial returns based on whether someone is reelected or a new president is elected. So keep that with a grain of salt. It just kind of gives, it's kind of just financial trivia for you to keep mindful of. Now, as you know, there's actually two bigger things that you should be paying attention to. And then in one thing is obviously much bigger, and that is the pandemic. Until we get behind, or I should say the pandemic gets behind us, we get ahead of the pandemic, we will continue to expect market volatility. We'll continue to see weakness in the financial markets, and of course, more eyeballs and interest on this stimulus deal. As we know, Congress has failed to reach another stimulus deal. Unfortunately, what that translates to, Americans are struggling through this second, third wave of the pandemic, and this is what we know so far. So Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announced that the Senate would be recessed until November 9th. Which translates to, 23 million plus Americans continue to be collecting unemployment benefits, and unfortunately, a new daily record high of new COVID-19 cases across the United States. That number just seems to get worse, and unfortunately, that is, believe it or not, more meaningful to the economy, the financial markets, and even the election. So those are the things, if you're an investor, those are the things you should be really paying attention to. The other thing that you want to be paying attention to, and this goes to our questions, is what you should be paying attention to, not only from this election, but things are going to be impacting you for the end of the year, and why we should expect more financial volatility, and also some of the things that you should be doing to prepare yourself. Okay, so December 31st is sort of a huge deal. Okay, because the CARES Act, a lot of the benefits of the CARES Act, which was the first stimulus package, expired on December 31st. And these are the things, for example, the 401k COVID-19 hardship withdrawals and loans that are through the end of 2020 does expire. So you can actually currently, if you were to take a loan out of your 401k and you're under the age of 59 and a half, well, you're able to spread that tax payment out over a period of 3 years. The other thing is the enhanced unemployment benefits. This is really dire and unfortunate, but unfortunately, as you know, unemployment, that extra $600 a week expired quite some time ago. But for self-employed independent contractors, and some of you actually might be in this category, gig economy workers are actually eligible to continue to receive state benefits through December 31st. So based on this, millions of workers will lose their benefits next year. Also, don't forget, for those who are on unemployment, right now you're actually getting 39 weeks of benefit versus the traditional 26 weeks offered by most states because of the pandemic. Those extended benefits end on or before December 31st, again, depending on when you started collecting unemployment. Now, lots of news, right? The eviction ban, the CDC historic order prevented residential evictions until the end of the year for most tenants as well. Mortgage relief, similar story, end of the year. And student loan forbearance. Student loans, federal student loan payments remain on auto deferment until January of 2021, unless private. Now, the same goes for like credit cards and auto loans. If you have those and you need to defer payments, you definitely want to reach out to those lenders directly and see if you can get some sort of, benefit in that way. But what do you do? What should you be doing? And what are we telling our clients to do right now, given the election results? So obviously, I'm hoping you're going to be watching to see how those numbers pan out this evening. I'm guessing you will. But more importantly, you're probably wondering what you should be doing on the days ahead. Well, let me tell you what we are doing here at our company, and maybe this will give you something to think about. What we've been doing throughout this pandemic and even before this pandemic is to be very mindful of gains. So we were really making sure that we were doing profit taking throughout this process, making sure that portfolios were well balanced, but also having a list of sort of our wish list of long-term securities and investments and mutual funds and ETFs that we felt that were meaningful for our clients, that made sense for their individual portfolios, right? And that's really what you should be doing too. There might be opportunities this week for you to add to your portfolios if there's a couple different, and there's a big if, all right? There's a lot of things you want to be paying attention to. First off, you want to make sure that you have no debt. That's key. You don't want to run investing if you have debt. If no debt, and you have savings, you have your emergency set aside, and this is a big thing. And you can handle the risk tolerance of being and staying invested for the long haul. We're talking more than 5 years. If those things all bear true and those things are appropriate to you, then you can actually take a look and see if there's opportunities for you to add to your portfolios for the long term. In fact, I want to share an article that came out just today from my friend Lori Conch, reporter at CNBC. This is sort of our Trending Tuesday article. One I really want to put on your radar is titled "Worried About Money? These 4 moves can help you regain your financial footing." So if you're not really sure what to do, and I see Wendy joining us, I see Lena joining us, Cheval joining us. This is an article, if you're going to read anything today, this might be the one that you want to take a look at. This is sort of, I like this because it's not just about the stock market, but it's about personal finance. And what are some things that we can do that are really meaningful to make a difference on our own financial lives and that of our families, right? So this is one that I actually contributed to. So take a look at it, take a look at this article. Let me know what you think. And of course, this touches upon the political environment that we're currently in. It talks about the election. Obviously, it touches on things like the stimulus, which is so important. So this week, let me tell you, we're going to keep following the financial markets very, very closely. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I'm actually thinking tomorrow, for those of you who are investors, this could be an opportunity for you to add to positions. You may not want to do it on the first day. You might want to take a look at what happens as we go through this week. But again, if you are an investor, if those things that I talked about earlier make sense for you, and ideally, if you're working with a financial advisor team that is very experienced, not only in current markets, but working during very difficult times in the market, financial downturns as well, they put together a plan. This is what we're actually actively doing with our clients. Also, I should note, if you would like a second opinion, you're looking for a complimentary consultation, definitely reach out, check out the website sungroupwp.com. You can jump in and request your complimentary consultation. We're doing a ton of those. And if you are an employer or you're at a company and you are looking for a speaker to come and talk to your employees or your group or your club about personal finance, about how they can make a difference in their own financial life, definitely reach out. We're doing a ton of speaking this year, and we would love to help you with that. So we're doing a lot of volunteer speaking. So reach out. We would love to help you. This is your chance, because typically I'm on a plane, I'm at some conference, and then you have to go into the area of speaking fees. Right now we're doing virtual speaking on a volunteer basis so that we can help as many people as possible. So we love to hear from you, all right? So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this information was helpful. Do me a favor, if it was, make a comment. Let me know what other information you would like to learn about personal finance, and submit those financial questions that you have all through the week. You don't have to hesitate. Just send those questions in. As you know, every single week we do AWA, which stands for Ask Winnie Anything. That's where we answer your financial questions right on the show. So have a great day. Keep safe, and definitely tune in and see what happens with the election. And we'll have more to discuss tomorrow. If you're around, join us on Twitter on our tweet chat. We'll be 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're having a great discussion on how to get savvy with future travel planning. That we know to travel, we've got to have something to look forward to, and why not join us tomorrow? All right. So thank you so much, and I'll see you very soon. Take care now.